Hello, everyone, and welcome to I think what is my third or fourth stream of the day. Um, it greatly amuses me to see you guys out there saying "pow" in the chat. Please keep doing that. It's these are the things that us streamers. Thank you, Fenmill. You're awesome. So it's the pows and the bits, but also the pows that we live for, and the stompy feet, and all these different things. Um, Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you. So it's been a long, long day. I had all manner of technical error while trying to share with you the launch of the Falcon 9 earlier today as it first deployed the Grace satellites at 300 miles and then headed on its way to drop off the Iridium satellites at 500 miles. And after that stream, I found myself in a tale of email and woe that I'm sure all of you have felt at some point in your lives. So I am here in the name of making everything better to destroy a planet with processing. Not a real planet, just a video planet, but is our video planet that we shall destroy together. Uh, so all silliness aside, I'm Dr. Pamela Gay. I am here to answer any astronomy questions you guys might have and talk science and shred planets because the universe is trying to kill us every day of our lives. So let me switch on over to the other screen. So I have a runaway window trying to sneak into the picture. Let me kill that. So I'm using a language. It's not quite the Imperial March drop bear. So I'm using a language called processing. And it opens a brand new file, even if I don't ask it to, every single time I open it. So I'm going to go ahead and open the file I'm meant to have open. Now, what we've been doing for the past few weeks is working on systematically going through and figuring out just what is necessary. And I'm guessing that is totally not readable to anybody. I need to zoom in, don't I? I got a new monitor, and this is causing all manner of difficulties nowadays. Okay, let me see what I can do to try and zoom in on that a little bit more. So please, I'm going to move the questions over to the little thing that I use to zoom. And if you have any questions, just go ahead, type them in. It's that kind of an evening where everything's going to go just a little bit sideways, I think. So I like where I am on the left. I like where I am on the top. Nope. So what I'm doing over in OBS right now is I'm trying to figure out how to get it to politely, and it's not being very polite, how to get it to politely curtail the screen a little bit. Because if I do this, I can now do this, and you can almost read the fonts. Now in just a moment I'll clean up the bottom edge of that, and we'll start to have something that we can use to get some work done. So thank you for your patience while I sort out a screen that I thought I had sorted out last week, but I guess my OBS lied to me. I am strong with the dark side, but also strong with the light. I kind of like Get Ray. I am very much a sympathizer with Ray. Okay, one more edit I need to make. Let's cut the bottom off of this window. Ooh, I almost got the right number on my first guess. There, I'm going to call that good. So I'm hoping everyone can now read things. I am steeped in gray. It comes from watching Babylon 5. There's a great quote from Delenn about being the gray. I challenge you guys to go find that. So anyways, back to destroying planets, because that is, after all, why we're all here this evening. This software that I'm working on, as you'll see in just a moment, generates a bright, hot star. And currently, I have a planet that is marching back and forth in front of the star. It's not rotating. It's not even going all the way across the screen to where it's supposed to go. We've got a long way to go before this is a correctly moving star. But progress is getting made. And Drop Bear totally found the quote I was thinking about. And Paranor found the rest of it. You guys are awesome. Okay, so in the name of making this orbit a little bit better, I'm going to go through my code and try and figure out where things went wrong. So this is a model of a star called Kelt B. It is one of the planets that is the hottest star, one of the hottest stars to be found having planets, and the planet that is orbiting it is the hottest planet found orbiting a star. At its surface, it's like at temperatures that start to melt metals. Deep down, it's a little bit cooler because its surface is actually like the temperatures of a surface of a red dwarf star. Now, the way that I have this orbiting right now was something I was really struggling with last week, and I think I'm going to have to make this window just a little bit wider to figure this out. Okay, and I'll move the planet over just a snert. So, as always, if you like yourself, leave yourself notes so that you can figure out what you did. So here I am, set the planet location. So here's where I'm starting at. This does not change. And why aren't I setting it up here? I don't know. I'm going to move this up in the top. Now the way processing works is it gives you for free this one section called setup, and this defines your screen, and then every frame of the animation, it does everything in this draw section. So the first thing I did was I drew my star. It's an ellipse. It's a circle. It's a type of ellipse. The next thing I did was I added what's called limb darkening. This is the shading out at the edge. And then I started working on moving my planet. Now my goal is to get it to go from, I forgot to write the first half of that, from 0.1 to 0.9 times the width in 100 frames. So it should be going from 10% in on the left to 10% in on the right. But clearly I did something very wrong. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what I did wrong. So where did I define orbit step? So orbit step is, I know that the total distance it's going to travel is 0.8 times the width of the frame. And now I'm going to turn that into an int, and that gives me the orbital width. So let me see if I can find this. You guys are having an awesome discussion over in the chat. Okay, let's see if my planet makes it all the way across the image this time. Go, go, go. Keep going, keep going. You kept going. Okay, we have success. We have a planet that goes all the way across its orbit. Now, I outlined in my comments last week what all I wanted to accomplish. So here, I wanted to get it, planet should orbit one step per frame. Now, it's going to do this to the right, and it's going to do this to the left. But the catch is, it should go behind the star. And this is where I'm having issues. So to get it to go behind the star, I need to draw the star before I draw the planet for those frames and only those frames. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to do this. I feel like I need a function called draw star. So I'm going to go ahead and make a function. It's going to not return anything. It's just going to do shit. So it's going to be function draw star. And it doesn't need anything passed into it, because I'm pretty sure everything it needs I put in global. So the next thing I'm going to do, I love how you're making fun of the various sci-fi stuff out there. Science is coding. I actually, all the research I've ever done, I've been able to do because I took a ton of computer science courses as an undergrad. I probably would have gotten a CS degree, but I didn't want to take assembly, which sounds lame, but is the truth. So yeah, I went from programming software to understand variable stars, to sort graphs of variable stars, all sorts of different things, to graduate school where I was working on more variable stars for a while, and I can't find where I drew my star. Okay, let's go up a little higher. Add limb darkening. Aha, it was at the very top. Okay, so I'm going to grab everything related to drawing my star. Right there. I'm going to live dangerously, and I'm going to paste it in down here. And this always feels like disaster, but who doesn't like to occasionally live dangerously? So now that I have that, I'm going to call my draw star, draw the sun / star, and I'm going to see if this just works. Usually things don't just work. What did Drop Bear do? Oh, you did too many symbols. It's okay. It's okay. We still love you. Yeah, we're still trying to find the right balance on the emotes. I didn't declare a variable. What variable did I not declare? Cannot. Did I see where? Int n. Okay. Let's make n a global. I know that that's bad, but this is my own code running on my own computer. And if I want to make n a global, I'm going to totally make n a global. Okay, let's see if this works better. This is the part I hate, waiting to see if it does anything. Ooh, I think I got it on the first try. Okay, so now I can like willy-nilly draw stars whenever I want. And who doesn't want to make stars whenever they want? I may have had too much caffeine today. All right. Practice the joy of moderation. We worked to tone down Nightbot. It's just we have a ways to go. Okay, so let's go back to figuring out when we want to draw the star. Now, if I have the planet going to the right, I'm going to say that's in front of the star. So in this case, it should draw the star oh man, I hate it when tabs don't do what you want. I definitely had too much caffeine today. So draw the sun star under the planet. Now the next thing I want to do is when the planet goes behind, I need to draw the sun star on top. On top of. Now let's kill off that and see what happens. No. No. Okay. That did not work. Why did that not work? I'm very confused. It should be like masking out. Okay. Remember, just at me if you have any questions. As always, I thought I had it, and I was so very wrong. So very, very wrong. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find and kill wherever. You can't see it because it's off the bottom of the screen, but I'm printing values of variables, and it's just kind of driving me a little crazy. And for some reason, I'm hitting the... Aha, there it is. I was hitting an issue where I couldn't find where it was putting the window I wanted. Okay, so let's kill off that. So in theory, this should cause there to be no star when it's going backwards. Let's first actually cancel out both stars and make sure we have no star. Okay, so I have no star. That part has been satisfied. I now want to draw the star. Oh, this isn't where I'm drawing the planet. That's the problem. This is all I'm doing here is determining the x's. Stop. Okay, so let me find where I'm drawing the planet. Here's where I'm drawing the planet. So now I'm going to make a routine down here called Draw Planet. Fake news fettuccine? I do not understand. So I see Noel saying, are you going to use sine and cosine functions to control the speed of the planet? So it's, I don't know yet. I don't know yet. My goal is to eventually get all that physics in, Noel. But right now, I'm going to be satisfied with just getting things to orbit. Okay, so let me find everything related to drawing my planet. So we have draw the stick. So I don't want to draw the, I'm not going to move the drawing of the stick yet. So I need the colors of the planet. Hello, colors of planet. Since those are constants, I'm just going to make them globals up here. Yeah. I am one of those people that likes to just pull everything out. If I was being nice to myself, I'd also put this into multiple files, but for now, I just want to get everything functioning, and it's sometimes easier to just scroll. Okay, so I have my fill for my planet. I have the coloration. So the first thing I do is draw the planet. The next thing I do is shading of the planet. And I have both a dark side and a light side. Okay, so now in theory, let me get rid of this, which I don't need. And instead, I'm going to simply say, draw planet, and see if that works. I want pizza now. You guys do this to me every time. You torture me with your fabulous talking of the foods. So I lost my green stick somewhere. Not worried about the green stick at the end of it. Oh, I drew the planet on top. Whoa, something went horribly wrong there. I lost my star and gained a stick. Okay, let's try and figure out what's going on there. It's like it turns into Pinocchio. It goes backwards. Okay. Let's start by moving the draw planet above the drawing of the stick. Okay, so there's that. Now, I'm guessing that somewhere down here I just copied and pasted way too many things. So here's the shading of the planet. Aha. So this is where I set the color of my stick. So let's put the color of the stick back. Not sure how that got mixed in. Sometimes I like myself only enough to leave myself bad comments, which will confuse me later. Past me was not nice. Okay, so I now have the green stick back. I think you're right, Astro says. I do have red matter in here somewhere. Okay, so I need to now figure out why I only have a planet going in one direction. All right, we can do this. We can do this. So for y equals blah, draw. So it's I bet it's somewhere in here where I'm cleaning up variables. Add limb darkening, draw, okay, so that's the draw star. If step less than 200, add, otherwise step equals 0. That's all good. So there I'm drawing the stick. I'm so confused. Okay, so let's turn off the draw planet. Oh, because I commented it out. That's why. It was actually doing what it was supposed to do. I just forgot I commented it out. Okay, let's get that working again. Stay, star. Be a good star. Do not disappear, star. Stay. It stayed, and the planet did not go behind it. But I'm starting to know how to do this. Okay. So now I just need to move my draw planet up into that if statement. So I'm drawing things in the correct order. So figure out where the planet goes and put it there. Figure out where the planet goes and put it there. Hopefully, and let me comment what I'm doing here. Draw the planet. And let's see if the planet now has the dignity to go behind the star. It does. I don't know why the star pulsed And the nose is staying on top, but I'm okay with that. Why is the star radius changing? Oh, it's the outer color is changing. Somewhere. Okay, so. It's true, Paranor. You do have to keep your nose above water. Okay, so. Planet radius equals. How am I setting the planet radius after drawing the planet? That should definitely go above. Okay, so I'm going to be confused about why that worked. Computer science, I think the two most common phrases are, why didn't that work? And how all the expletives did that work? Because it's always one or the other that you're dealing with. This will eventually be a variable. That's why I'm leaving it down here. Okay, so now I have my planet. Stick should point at star. So I'll work on my stick in a moment. Because that's going to cause me to have to math. But before I do that, I want to try and figure out why my stroke colors aren't staying what they should be. So to do that, I'm going to step through and find all the places it defines this particular little variable. Okay, so I'm apparently, when I'm drawing the star, I'm mucking with the stroke color. So after this is all over, I'm going to change the color back to black because Amy Winehouse had that correct. Then here I'm changing it when I'm drawing the planets, so I'm going to change it back to black again. You guys are, yes, the two questions I cited also apply to pretty much any practical thing. Okay, let's try this again. Let's see if we can keep the outline the same color. No, it went back to orange again. Okay, I need to figure out where that is. Right there. So how is everyone doing out there tonight? It's a quiet group. There's only 19 of you right now. Okay, stay the same color. It stayed. Okay. Okay, so currently all of that is working. Now the next thing that I need to figure out is how to get my green stick constantly pointing towards the sun. Let me see what Paranor's asking first. Can one of you guys it's very cool dream. So do you want me to read that now, Paranor? And that's awesome, Astro says. Thank you, Paranor. I'll go ahead and just read it later then. All right, so let's work on fixing that green nose. So my goal is I want the nose to always be pointed towards the star. Now to do this, I'm afraid I'm going to have to write things out. So I am unlocking my handy dandy iPad I am squishing in closer and making a mess, and wow, I'm overlit tonight. Okay, let's see if that's a little bit better. And what I'm going to do is work on writing out the math that I need to do. So screen sharing, Moneta. There we go. And there we go. I will try very hard to only write on the part of the screen that you can see. I want to know what the officially and unofficially is referring to, and I have no idea, and that's probably for the best. So my goal is to go from the nose points that way when it's in front, when it's beside the star, to point to pointing back at the star. So what I want is for it to go from 1 to 0 to -1. So the cosine of 0 is 1. Then the cosine, I believe, of 180, and I'm going to verify this in a moment, is -1. And I think, unless I'm screwing things up, that the cosine of 90 is 180. So I should be able to do this with a cosine term. Let me just find a window to make sure I know how cosine works. So Astro says, what I'm doing is I have an air server set up on my iMac, and so I'm screen sharing my iPad to the screen of my laptop, and I'm using an Apple Pencil to be able to write. This is about my favorite thing to be able to do. Figuring out how to do this just made me stupid happy. Oh, come on. All I want is that chart that we all memorized at one point in school that's like angles and the values. There, that will do. So cosine of 90 is 0. Yes, I remembered everything correctly. So no matter how smart you think you are, no matter how well educated you are, know that sometimes it's always best to double check. When you don't double check, this is how you crash the Mars Polar Lander onto Mars by making unit mistakes. So I'm just Googling to be safe. Yes, always verify. So now I am typing the wrong things into Google. I want to go, so I need to do this. So, okay, what I have is this is equal to 0 steps. This is equal to 100 steps. And software likes to work in radians, which is one of those things that I think all of us hate. I don't know about you, but I totally can't think in radians. So in order to make all of these conversions, I always have to just break it down, pause, curse at it, because apparently I can't go to radians without at least a little bit of cursing involved. So to do this in 100 steps, what I want is, let me go back to my software now. So this is 0 steps, this is 100 steps. I'm going from cosine of 0 to cosine of pi. So cosine of 0 I can do for when I equals 0. I have cosine of I times, whoops, you can't see that far down. I will write smaller. So I have 0 here. So for I equals 0, this is cosine of I times pi. But that doesn't quite work. So I need, because over here, so let me think again. Thinking again slower, deleting this entire line so I can cram things on better. So this is pi over 2. This is pi, this is actually 0. So if I have I equals 0 here, I have I equals 100 here, and at I equals 100 I have pi. That means this is cosine of I over 100 times pi. And then at I equals 50, I have pi over 2. Okay. So going back over here to figure out my stupid stick, because these are the things I do. My variable for going round and round and round is just called step. So I is actually called step. Clean up the variables. Where am I drawing my stick? There I am drawing my stick. So I want my stick to have a length. And my stick length I will declare up here, because this is where I'm just like declaring everything. Okay. So I'm going to add to x my stick length, and my stick length is equal to cosine of 100 as a float. I have to do float step divided by 100 times pi. And so that goes from 1 to -1. And I'm going to multiply this by 100 pixels to give us an obnoxiously long one as a starting point, but I apparently cannot convert from float to int. I need to add one more typecasting. It's changing in size. Look at that. That is deeply pleasing. So the problem that I'm having is it's not drawing it from the center of the planet. It's drawing it from the edge. But other than that, I am deeply amused. So let me now work on getting it drawing from the center of the planet. I am so easily amused. Okay, so this should draw from, oh, I forgot the X. Zoink. Okay. So now what I need to do is figure out how to. I'm sorry. I'm just so deeply amused with what I have now accomplished. Um, I am more deeply amused than I probably have any right to be. Okay. So, what I want it to do, and now I'm going to have to make it more complex, is I'm going to switch views to explain to you what I want to do. Okay, I got this. So here is our planet and our stick. And what I want is, if you're the star, it always points towards you. So this means that I need to adjust the, wow, I'm bad at doing this. So currently it's pointing towards you, and then the perceived point that the stick intersects the planet needs to change is what I'm awkwardly getting at. So let me try and get back to that. As I said, I'm deeply amused right now. Okay. Now, in order to... I lost my Apple Pencil. There it is. I'm going to reshare my screen for a moment. Screen mirroring, Moneta. It's determined to put it on the other screen. All right. So I have, here's my star. No, you can't see that. Let me move that down. Okay. There's my star. I have my planet, and when my planet is over here, the stick points that way. Now, let's go behind the planet, which is the opposite direction I've been drawing it. So let me draw this to match what you're seeing on the screen. So it's going around like this, if we can imagine tilting what we're seeing. I don't know why I drew an arrow there. So when the planet is on either side, the stick just sticks out the side. But as the planet rotates behind, you should see the stick sticking out the front of the planet. And over here, the planet should be drawn on top of the stick. So we're going to have more crazy order of when you draw stuff. So what I need to do now is create a function for drawing the stick. All right, let's bring this back and create a draw stick function. So now I am looking for the stick code. I am sticking the stick code in the stick function. Now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to tell it to draw the stick after it draws the planet when it's going behind. And I'm going to tell it to draw the stick first when it's in front. So let's see what happens. And thank you, everyone, for being out there. I know this is just entirely silly tonight. I lost my stick. There. Okay, so the stick works fine when it's going behind. Come out the other side, planet. Come on. There we go. Came out the other side. And lost the stick. Okay. How did I lose the stick? Because I drew the stick before I drew the star. That's why. Okay. These are the important questions. Where did I lose the stick? Eddie asks me this multiple times every day. Admittedly, he's a dog, but still. Okay, now we have passing in front, passing behind. Okay. That is pretty much doing the things I want it to do. Now, it's not planet Pluto. I haven't hurt planet Pluto. I promise. I promise. Okay. I haven't... Well, I have the stick mostly doing what I want. It's not going back and forth on the planet's surface the way I'd like. It's just either getting drawn in front or behind. And the way I figure out what it should do is down here when I'm setting the X for it. This X is also going to be moving back and forth across the surface of the planet, sort of the way some of our other stuff was moving around. So let me get my screen share back, and I can work on trying to explain what I mean and figure out the maths. Oh, no, stop. Like I said, it keeps wanting to open on the other screen. Some software is just belligerent that way. All right. So over here, I want it to be all the way to the right. Over here, I want it to be all the way to the left. Here, I want it to be in the middle. Here, I want it to be in the middle. So I'm going from X plus planet radius. That's not how you spell planet. X plus planet radius. Over here I have X minus planet radius. And here I have 0. So I again want to go from +1 to -1 as a multiplier in this case. So it's going to be very much the exact same thing, where it's that cosine step over 100 times pi. All right, let's make this one go away. It noped me hard, so I'm just gonna move it. Okay, so I want to do planet radius times, I'm gonna have to turn all of this into an int. It's gonna be 2 sets of parentheses there. Actually, I don't know why I did 2 sets of parentheses. I only need the one. Int of cosine of step divided by 100 times pi. I need to turn my step into a float. I wish we could turn all steps into floating steps that easily. And let's see if we get the stick moving correctly. Whoa, I don't know quite what I did, but it is not what I meant to do. Okay. Oh, I adjusted the length of the stick. No, that I did want. So I forgot to multiply this by planet radius. I did many things wrong. I'm just going to delete that. We're all going to pretend I never wrote that. I'm going to replay it. Okay, so we're back to having no stick fail. So I'm going to add a new variable. I shall declare my variable up here where all variables are declared. Int stick x. So this is the x where the stick goes. All right, so my stick x is going to be the planet's radius. Let me make sure I'm getting the right variable for that. Planet rad. Okay, so the planet's radius times, and I want this to be a -1 from +1 to -1. So this is my step value divided by 100 times, remembering to do everything in floats, and remembering how to spell float, times pi. What, so just notice the webcam and text under are shifted off right and being cut off. Oh, how on earth did that happen? Huh. You're right. I have no clue. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let me switch the name of my institution real fast so that it doesn't hang off. Thank you so much for noticing that. I clearly need copy editors. There. Hopefully that will look better. This is actually a mutant version of Java. I'm using the processing framework. Cannot convert from float to int. Okay, so I need to convert back to int. Okay, so going around and around and around. It's not moving because I forgot to tell it to move, I think. So yeah, I added the plus string length to its radius and not to its position. So let's try this. I always need more coffee. I can't. Dang it. I'm not sure. No, it's just staying stuck to the center. Stick length. Oh, I'm adding the length. That should have done something. I am so confused at why that isn't working. That did not do what was intended. Okay, so, I see what I have to do. I have to add stick length to one of these. And I have to add stick X to the other. I think my coffee's wearing off. Okay, so there I offset too much because it was floating off the surface. Oh, I'm offsetting way too much. Okay, so apparently my planet radius is actually a planet diameter. Rather than rename that, I'm just going to divide by 2. It did evolve. It always evolves, just not always the way I'd like it to. So it popped off the surface. Let's see if it comes out the other side. It's not quite doing what it's supposed to do. I'm going to make my planet bigger so I can see it better. I'm going to try one more thing. So planet radius is set where? Set down here where I draw things. So I'm going to give myself a significantly larger planet. And my turtle is jumping in the background if you heard the splash. My turtle does not understand that turtles are not meant to jump. So I'm going to go back to having the stick coming out of the center of the planet. Thank you so much, Fenmil. That is amazing. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I just hope I can make my planet have a stick coming out where it should and make you proud. Okay, so I have the stick growing and shrinking correctly. So what I want is this should have the starting point of the line always shifted to the right by 50 pixels. So I'm now just trying stuff. You guys are amazing. Okay, so there it is, off shifted to the right, and there it's growing back out. Okay, so if I always off shift it to the right, it doesn't quite work. So there's its end point, which goes from a positive number to a negative number. I'm just going to sit here and be confused for a moment. So this needs to go back and forth the same way. So that needs to become a negative number, which it does. $100 times pi. And I'm going to make these structured the same way just to try and help my brain out. So I want its starting point to go back and forth across the planet. I'm going to make the stick always drawn on top just so I can figure this out. So to make the stick be drawn on top, I just have to draw it after I draw the planet. So I want this to shift by plus stick X. And it's going to yell at me. Cannot convert a float to an int. Where are you having problems? Type mismatch. Float does not match type int. I missed a parenthesis. And yes, I make fabulous Muppet faces occasionally at my computer when it's confusing me. Okay, so center. Shifting to the... I nailed it! Okay, I got it that time. come out the other side, come out the other side. Thank you so much for hosting over Serpent AI. So, you guys all just came in time for me to get a stick sticking out of a planet to be consistently sticking out the right part of the planet. So what I'm doing right now is I'm working on a simulation of a planet going around the star Kelt B. This is an actual star. It's a really hot blue giant. I currently made my planet bigger than it is in reality so that I can see it better. And I appreciate all of you rating in. So what I'm trying to do is get it so that if there were a stick pointing off the surface of the planet, it would always be pointed at the planet. And I wanted to get the perspective of it moving across the surface of the planet correct. And I was really struggling with that. So to make sure I got it right, I made the stick draw on top of everything else so that I could always see it when the planet was in front. I'm now going to fix the order of things so that I can get the stick correctly sticking out the back of the planet, so it's always pointed at the words. They're hard, so that it's always pointed at the star. So I'm literally currently trying to draw a stick sticking out of a planet pointing at a star, because why not? Well, I can explain to you exactly why I'm trying to do it in a second. Let me just get the stupid stick drawing correctly. So I want the stick to be on the planet, which is on top of the star. So order of operations. I should now have a stick sticking out of a planet orbiting a star with the perspective of the stick doing the sticking, staying stuck, pointing at the star. I think I got it. Okay, stick came off the planet there, but it seems to be working. So I see Mark Mello is asking, are there any systems where planets aren't all in the same plane when orbiting? Ours. So most of the planets are more or less in the same plane, but there is admittedly not yet detected, there is a theoretically, it has to be there or math doesn't work right, planet that is in a highly tilted orbit out past Pluto. Other systems, I'm sure there are, but I can't name them off the top of my head. I'm just happy that I got this stick sticking out. Halibut. You just, Hackabut, halibut. I normally just name things Fred, and I think most things in my house are named Fred. When I'm old and decrepit, I'm just going to ask for Fred and be happy no matter what you give me. All right. So the next thing I want to figure out, it's going to be way harder. So if you look at my planet, it currently has shiny bit on the right, dark bit on the left, and I want to try and get that rotating too. That is going to be a whole lot harder. So Paranor, do you call everything George because of the Bugs Bunny episode? Because I name lots of things George as well. So this one actually is so hot, Larry, that it couldn't have a liquid surface. This is, like I said, this is modeled after a real star. This one is like alkaline metals in gaseous form in its atmosphere. It is a rude, hot planet. So the next thing I need to do is I need to move my shading. I need to figure out where I'm shading things. Oh, it's down here in my draw planet. So I'm currently shading the planet, so there's a dark side, there's a light side, and currently they're always pointed that way. What I need to do now is get it so that the center of where the shading is changes. I'm going to math this one first, because if I don't try and math it first, it's just going to go horribly, horribly wrong. So I'm going to leave this right here. Actually, I'm going to leave it right there. I'm so pleased that you actually turned left at Albuquerque. Although depending on where you're coming from, that's a very strange way to go. For me, left at Albuquerque would have been heading straight towards the Mexican border. Anyways, screen sharing. I'm going to bring my notepad back up. So here's my notepad. And what I want to do is I have my planet, and sometimes I have my planet shaded so that it's basically all one solid color. Now that part is easy. You just fill it in one color. And you get that particular situation when the sun is over here or the sun is over here, so it's shining straight onto it. Let me draw this in 3 dimensions. It'll make more sense. Sorry, jumping ahead. Let me give you a blue star. So here's my blue star in the center. And then I have my orangey red planet, not drawn to scale. And as it goes around, I have my stick that is always pointed towards the sun. And you can't see my topmost part of the sketch. There we go. So I have my stuff. Paranor is asking about allergies. Yeah, I had a horrible, it turns out that I was using some glues the other day I was terribly allergic to. So things were not pretty. I'm glad I could read your mind, keeper of maps. Yeah, yesterday was miserable. No one was going to be allowed to see me yesterday without sunglasses on. Anyways, back to trying to shade things. So the side of the planet closest to the star is going to be hotter. And the side furthest from the star is going to be cooler. And the question is, how do I draw this? So where it gets really difficult is these intermediate stages. So right here, I'm looking at crescent sunlight and gibbous red. So there's my crescent sunlight. Over here, I'm looking at crescent sunlight in the other direction. Yellow is always a horrible temperature, but I'm trying to be scientifically on the ball. Here I'm going to have the gibbous with the sunlight, gibbous with the sunlight. And so what I'm going to have to do, and I think I'm going to have to leave this till next week, but I'm going to do some of the sketching out of the steps. What I'm going to have to do is figure out how to essentially superimpose the arcs moving over. So what I'm going to want to do, and I may just pull up a new sketch pad to try and play with this, is for these situations, I want to figure out, and this is what I have no idea how to do, how to shade this like this. And I'm going to start by doing it solid, just so I can figure out all the pieces. Now, it's the not having it half and half that has me completely baffled at the moment. I think what I need to do, and let me try and draw this on top, I think what I need to do is draw an arc like that and then only go part way out to get the other side. I think if I draw my lines like this, where they're always connected at the same point, I should be able to accomplish this. The trick's going to be getting from the how far to the left to how far to the right do I go. So what is the questions in there? Yes, I am indeed using a Mac. So the question is, can you make a clipping window in your software? Which software do you mean, Keeper of Maps? A window in a Mac is still a window. That terminology actually goes back to like Xerox days, I think. Yes, let's all do the time warp again. Touche. I agree. So the processing software, I'd have to code that. So I'm trying to figure out how I code this from scratch. And that's where it gets kind of difficult. So I am going to try to figure out just one quick part of this. So I'm actually on my star. I'm not going to try and do it on the planet initially. On my star, I'm going to try and figure out, and excuse me while I rearrange the windows on you. There, star. I'm going to Okay, so I'm going to try and color my star a bit like that terrible sketch I did. So I'm going to come down and mutate my draw star code once I refined where I put it. Draw star. Okay. So currently with the opacity, I'm going to just comment out all of these because this code works. I'm not going to destroy things that work. I'm going to look at my planet. So for my planet, I used this code. So I'm grabbing my planet code and I'm going to apply it to my star. Okay, I'm fine with my int right there. That can live. Oh, I did it with opacity for the sun. That's how I did that. Okay. Never mind. Ignore that. So I'm going to add a strange colored thing. I'm going to go with thing. So this is the RGB values of my planet. And I want to draw, instead of planet, I'm going to draw it on the sun. So for those of you who are new, I'm using the processing language. It's a framework, for lack of a better phrase, that is built on top of Java that has a lot of really nice functionality built into it. So I'm now just trying to half illuminate. Okay, so apparently, let's declare those and life will go better. Those are floats. I'm going to make them floats. I don't know if they're supposed to be floats. Let's try that again. Okay, so I can do a crescent. I've proven I can do the crescent. The next thing I want to do is figure out how to go to gibbous. So let's do 85% and see what happens. That did not work as planned. Let's try 1.8. Let's try 1.85. I'm getting closer. Let's try 2. Okay, I can't seem to do more than half. Next boxes were nice. We got to use those when I was at Michigan State. At least they were much better than the VMS. Was that what the boxes were? Things that weren't Unix. Okay, so that did not do what I wanted. So I'm going to go back to the crescent. So I can do a crescent. Okay, so this is just my N value that I'm using. So that isn't quite what I wanted to do. So sun's radius. Okay, so I'm seeing how to do this. If all else fails, I do the crescent part and I just alternate which color fills in. Vax, that's the one I'm thinking of. I hated Vax. Yes, yes. VMS was a thing I also hated. Vaxes ran VMS. That is it's not the trinity I hate, it's the duality. All right. It's not quite where I meant to get today, but it's progress being made. So what I'm going to work on next week is getting the coloration to work out perfectly as the planet goes around and around its star. And I'm going to also put this back so I don't wonder what the heck I did to my code when I start again next week and have completely forgotten this strange experiment that I just ran. I'm just going to back out of this. So next week, I'm going to come back. I'm going to fix the coloration on the planet. And once I have the coloration on the planet fixed, I'm going to start giving my planet a tail because it's getting irradiated so much by this star that it's actually losing material. Again, this is a quick data visualization that I'm putting together to model the Kelt B extrasolar planet. This is an extremely hot star that has a planet around it that is getting baked. It is getting baked to the point that its surface is streaming off behind it. Its surface is actually hot enough that it's like it's the temperature of a cool star. Inside it's probably cooler. So yeah, this is what I'm working on, and progress is slowly but surely getting made. And thank you for joining me. So I am Dr. Pamela Gay. I am the director of CosmoQuest, and this is part of CosmoQuest. We encourage you to go map out other worlds and explore our own planet Earth at cosmoquest.org. We are literally mapping other planets that spacecraft might land and rove a little bit safer and find more interesting places to explore. Our next show is going to be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. London, and that is our daily space. This is where tomorrow's Wednesday. This is where Dr. Andreas Plazas is going to bring you a roundup of all that is new and interesting in astronomy and space science while I'm in a telecon. So I'm going to leave you in Andreas's great hands for tomorrow, and I hope you all show up to find out everything that is new. After that, we're going to have Matt Richardson working on studying lunar surfaces, and then I'll be back again on Thursday with the Daily Space, and we start all over again. So thank you all for joining. Thank you for the bits. Thank you for the follows. I especially like the fact that it was 1984 bits, Fen Mill. That is both a traumatizing book and an interesting year in history that was a much more innocent time, and we didn't know that at the time. So thank you all. Yeah, I'm running out of words to say. Words and things, words and things. So I'm actually going to attempt to raid you over to Starstrider, but thank you so much for 42. I got another magical number of bits. That is amazing. So yes, go check out Serpent AI. He's another one of our Brainy Bites Twitchers. I don't know what to call it, streamers. And more good things are coming, especially if I can find my chat. There it is. So stay tuned. More good things are coming on many other channels. Wherever you are in the world, have a good morning, evening, or afternoon. And remember, keep looking up.